You are now listening to the Be Your Own #LoveGoals podcast with Mo Ari
and Tiffany.
We just want you to remember that every person, regardless of identity, wants these three things: belonging, authenticity, and love.
And after a decade of partnership, we've learned to co-create these things and so much more.
So from wherever you're listening, we're going to go on a journey of becoming our own #LoveGoals. Now let's get into this episode. Hey, it's Mo Ari
and Tiffany.
And this is the Be Your Own Love Goals podcast. Thank you so much for being here. We are so grateful that you all could join us today.
Yes, I'm excited.
I am really excited too. We are, we've been together for a long time. We just celebrated our 5-year anniversary in November. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. That I don't know the words.
Should be together. Ooh, I started that off real sharp or flat or
and
something.
You took it up 10 notches.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sing today. Sorry.
I'm not either, y'all.
I think it's undeniable, isn't it?
Still a chair. Huh?
Isn't it undeniable?
I think so. That's why I said unbelievable. I'm just messing up the words. That's why I don't know the words.
Yeah.
Okay. Anywho, we've been together for a long time, and we haven't told our love story yet on the podcast. We have not talked about the origins of Motif, the origins of being our own love goals. Yeah. We wanted to talk about that, being Black, queer, and in love, and how liberating that journey has been for us. Yeah. So, I mean, it's no other place to start this story but in Orlando in September of 2012.
Yes.
Well, Tiffany had probably seen me prior to that. I just didn't know who she was. In July
of 2012.
How did we meet, Tiff?
How did we meet? You want to know my version, your version?
No, how we met. Just go.
So we met, like you're saying, September or October, fall of 2012 in Orlando. We were both on an international committee for our sorority at the time, and we were roommates.
Yeah.
I walk into the room and I'm just like, hey, my name is Tiffany and I'm so happy to meet you. So excited, so like probably in your face. And you were like, hey.
This is why she meant tell your version. I'm thinking I should have said, well, I'll tell it. I was nervous. I'm very shy when I meet new people quite often. And I hadn't even talked to her on the phone. I don't even think I had looked at a picture of her. Like, I don't think I knew who was going to walk into this room.
Yeah, fair.
So when you got there, I just remember feeling extremely like, am I going to speak? I'm going to just pretend that I'm not here and maybe she's not going to see me. Like, it was one of those classic TV, like Disney Channel movie kind of moments where the teenager is like really anxious to meet the girl and they're like, I'm not here. Maybe she doesn't see me. It was like that. And then you walked up and you shook my hand. And I was like, okay, she's extroverted. Good.
But I was also very nervous. I think my nervousness externally comes out in a different way, but I think I got super talkative because I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, like, is this person going to like me? Like, just feeling a lot of anxiety. And so that was my way of like trying to bridge what was happening there for me.
It worked.
It did.
I'm like, she is extroverted. This is going to be the start of a great relationship.
And we were able to connect. And you were on the phone with your sister at the time. And some of the things that you were speaking about or sharing, I really have related to. And I was like, oh my God, like, I see you. You see me.
I did not get off the phone. I was still on the phone.
The phone, have a full-blown conversation. And if y'all know Mo and Mel, they will talk at length, for hours, on and on and on. Like, they have great, lively
Yeah,
conversation.
I don't think I went on and on at that time. I just didn't get off the phone when
You
you got
didn't.
in
No, it wasn't
there.
long, but it was you definitely didn't say like, "Hey, my roommate just walked in. I'm a."
No, I was really trying to avoid connect, but because Tiffany overheard the things that I was talking about,
Mhm.
you like were like, "Oh, me too," and you
Mhm.
just started talking, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, cool, bye, Mel."
Uh-huh. It was like, "Okay, I'm safe. We can go have this
Yeah, and
conversation."
we just been talking ever
Been
since.
talking ever since.
We kept being roommates for the committee whenever we would travel for conferences. We grew a
Mhm.
really great friendship. Our
Mhm.
relationship was very platonic in the beginning of the
Very.
relationship.
Very.
We were just committee members building like a friendship, and that friendship is still like the foundation of our
Mhm.
relationship.
Mhm. And I really enjoyed your company. Like, I just really enjoyed you as a friend, and I think at some point during this period, I studied abroad in Spain,
You did.
and obviously, like, the Wi-Fi and things were a little fickle where we
The
were, and
time
so the
difference was a
time
thing.
difference was odd, and but I was also very lonely, and I was like, "Oh, Imma reach out to Mo," and I would text Mo and wouldn't respond, or he would respond, like, at an awkward time or, like, just, in an inconsistent way, and I was like, "You know what? I really don't like it when you don't respond to me consistently." This was as friends, y'all, like, we were strictly platonic, and I remember you being like, "You know what? You're right, and I'm gonna respond to you," and I feel like I've texted you every day since that day.
Yeah, probably. I don't think that I knew that you I don't think because we hadn't had a conversation about our friendship.
We
And
didn't.
I'm a person that needs to be very clear. We're
Yeah.
friends, you expect this of me.
Mhm.
So once you said it, I was like, "Oh, I matter to her. She
Mhm.
wants me to message her. I'm gonna
Mhm.
do that."
Mhm.
But even with friends, I need you to tell me directly,
Yeah.
"This is what I need from you," or else I don't know. And so you
Mhm.
took it upon yourself to be like, "You need to message me back consistently."
And that's not really a thing I typically do, so it was a testament to the safety that I felt in whatever we were creating, in the friendship that we were creating at the time, that I could be honest and say, "Hey, I really want you to text me back consistently." So,
Yeah.
yeah, I really saw you as a really great friend, and I don't know that I have realized it at that point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Really?
Mhm.
So we go on being friends and connecting, and um I mean, for the first for the large part of the beginning of our relationship, it was friendship,
Yeah.
platonic.
Well, I mean, we've been together so long, so
Well,
no,
not
that's not the
large,
large.
not the majority.
But we were friends, and then at some point, um, we end up having this conversation where I'm like, "What is it?" It's like Tiffany started to talk. I think we were talking about strip clubs or something like that.
We were.
And Tiffany was like, "Well, I've always had a wonder about women." And I was
Mhm.
like, "You've had a wonder." Now, at the time, I hadn't transitioned.
Mhm.
So I was very feminine presenting at the time. And so I'm like, "You have a wonder. What's this
Mhm.
wonder?" I
Mhm.
latched onto that immediately. Now, something in my intuition in my soul before this trip to see and seeing you, I knew that this was coming. When I got there,
Mhm.
Tiffany made me cookies. It was like a whole thing. But I didn't really believe it because I'd never heard you even talk about this before.
Mhm.
So, but my intuition was telling me this was coming.
Mhm.
So you end up telling me, I've always had this wonder. I'm like, "Oh, okay, you got a wonder. Okay." And then that's why I asked you more. And I was
Yes.
like exploring this wonder. Like, so you would get lap dances.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, I think I would.
Mhm.
Or something you had said. And I'm like, all right.
Oh
Well,
my
cool, cool,
god.
cool, cool, cool. So I'm like, do you like women? Do
Mhm.
you like
Mhm.
people assigned female at birth? And I don't know what your answer to that question
I
was.
don't
I think you
remember
said
my
I have a
answer.
wonder. I think you just kept hard
A
down on this a
wonder.
wonder, and it was how you raised your eyebrow. I have a wonder when you were
I
saying
did
it.
all of that.
Yeah, it was like
Oh
that.
my god.
And then, uh, and then once we kept with this wonder thing, I don't know how I honestly do not know how it progressed to, like, making out, sex, and all this other stuff. I honestly do not.
You honestly don't.
I think it was kinda like, I got into bed with you, we
Mhm.
talked about whether or not I could touch you here or
Mhm.
there, and I
Mhm.
think it progressed like that.
Mhm. It did.
Or can I kiss you or something? Or you
Mhm.
wouldn't let me kiss you at this point.
Mhm.
I think
No.
I don't think we kissed the first time we had
We
sex.
did not kiss. I was adamant that I was like, "No, everything's gonna change if you kiss me." Like,
But you could
no.
have sex. I didn't understand.
Yep, no. No kissing. But that's I would say this is probably the first time that you've told this story that is, not me having seduced you or
Well, I
something.
think it's pretty seductive to be like, I have a wonder. I feel like Tiffany was aware that she was coming on to
I
me.
really was not.
And maybe she was not aware. She was probably not aware of
None
those
the
feelings.
wiser
But
at
it's
all.
like you were just your body was leading, I guess, or
Mhm.
your heart and everything. So after that time, I think we pretty much for real talks like every day.
Mhm.
It's over the next year.
Mhm.
We were not in a relationship,
Mm-mm.
still long distance,
Mhm.
no longer on the committee,
Mm-mm.
working together
Mm-mm.
for the sorority,
Mhm.
but still keeping our relationship going, our friendship, and
Mhm.
trying to figure out what this was, this
Mhm.
experience that we had
Mhm.
now, like a year later, a year ago.
Mhm.
So my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer in sometime during grad school for
Yeah.
me, so
Yeah.
many years ago,
Mhm.
and I'm really devastated by that, and Tiffany comes to visit me. It's like, "I'm gonna get on the plane. I got these Southwest points from
Yeah.
traveling for the committee those years ago. I'm
Mhm.
gonna come visit you,
Mhm.
because I wanna just be there to comfort you. This is really
Mhm.
tough." Like,
Mhm.
and I was like, "She is just a divine."
Mhm.
I never had somebody do something so thoughtful like that
Yeah.
before. Now my friends are extremely thoughtful,
Mhm.
but to be in a relationship with somebody, not a relationship, but somebody I know I liked. At this point, I
Mhm.
told you I loved you. Like I really wanted you to be with
Yeah, you
me, but
did.
you were like, I don't know. I do not know. I do not
I do
know.
not know about that one, okay?
Yeah, you were really like, so for you to show up that way, even not knowing what you if you wanted a relationship or anything like that, was like, well, you're still a genuine person. Like, I
Mhm.
want you in my life.
Mhm.
So that was like really
Yeah.
special. And so you showed up for me, you came. We even went out to Cancer Treatment Centers of America
Mhm.
together that trip
Yes. It was
to
Halloween.
it was Halloween to take my mom because my dad was working, and so
Mhm.
I would sometimes take my mom.
Mhm.
And I remember being very, very excited, just very happy that you
Mhm.
had come to really
Mhm.
be there. So I had all these gifts and everything for you when you got there.
Mhm.
I had planned out, I don't know if I planned out all our food or whatever, but I had
Mhm.
food ready and
Mhm.
everything. I was just
Mhm.
like so, thankful.
Mhm.
I don't know how long it took to like make out, have sex, other things, but we definitely did that night.
That night, for
And
sure.
then so that's how our anniversary ends up being Halloween because I asked,
That
our dating anniversary.
yeah, that night was October 30th.
Oh, that night was October 30th when you
You
got
asked
there.
me October 30th,
And
and I
then you said,
said
"Ask me again in the morning because
exactly.
your mind was clouded because of the
Yes.
sex."
Yes.
So then I asked you again in the morning of October 31st, and you're like, "Yes."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Okay."
Mhm. Accurate. Accurate. And I feel like for me, I wanna say this was maybe one of the first times that we had seen each other or connected for a while
Yeah.
after, even after the first time that we had had sex, and so that time was like, "Oh, what I was feeling, that, like, jittery, I really like this person that I was feeling, that's actually real.
Yes,
That's
absolutely
actually
real.
there," and so it definitely solidified things for me, so it felt like the natural progression to, like, say, "Okay, I'm gonna be your girlfriend."
Mhm.
And yeah, like, oh my god, that time, it was just so, like, I feel so young even thinking about it, like, so young, but
Yeah.
very sure of the connection we had, very sure of wanting to cultivate something with you, wanting to um grow a relationship together. We Our friendship was amazing. And so for that to be the foundation, I think it remains one of my most favorite things about our relationship, our marriage, is that friendship that we really poured into and cultivated in the beginning of our relationship.
Was very special to me as well. We
Yeah.
went out with our friends during that trip.
Mhm.
I, we had a great time,
Mhm.
and I really felt sure, very certain,
Mhm.
very patient.
Mhm.
I knew what I was getting into,
Mhm.
knowing that you had not really been in many
Yeah.
relationships, and let alone like any relationships that were LGBTQ
Mhm.
plus. So
Mhm.
I knew that this was going to be a journey for you.
Mhm.
But I don't think it was that long after that you told your mom.
Mm-mm.
I would think it may be like
That
the
was
next.
October.
So she might have told her in November or December. You might have told her.
I feel like I told her before
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
So you told her pretty
Within a
quick.
month.
Yeah. So pretty
Mhm.
quickly you were like, yeah,
Mhm.
I've got a partner
Mhm.
and their name is Mo.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah. And that was like, that began the shift in your relationship with your family and having to do that work
Mhm.
uh around coming out as queer and
Mhm.
all of this.
Mhm.
But in terms of our relationship, I think it began to blossom.
Mhm.
We were long distance.
Mhm.
My brothers were getting married during this time.
Yeah.
We were gearing up for my oldest brother to get married to his husband,
Mhm.
and my family had gone to therapy to talk
Mhm.
about just shifting our own dynamics and
Mhm.
really being a family that's inclusive and expansive
Mhm.
and really celebrates queer people.
Mhm.
And so we are all like now, of course, have these beautiful relationships because we've done this work. And but at the time during that therapy process, I came out to my family.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say that was like maybe January, February.
Mhm.
Um, and I remember at the time kind of saying, I didn't really expect to have to come out. I thought like this would be a no-brainer. Like Tiffany is
Mhm.
my girlfriend. This
Mhm.
is not it's
This is
not
not
the
news.
not news and not a conversation, not.
Mhm.
And I think my mom's response at the time was like, I am not surprised. Now, I did
Mhm.
not like that she said that, but in reviewing it later, I was like, you know what? She shouldn't be surprised. She's right. Like, she's not surprised because she
Mhm.
knows me well. And that means that we've done our work, right?
Mhm.
Together, that she knows me, she's paying attention. And um, I wanted her to say out loud, I love you and I accept you. I already knew that that was there. She loved you
Mhm.
already. There was
Mhm.
nothing she had to say.
Mhm.
I think even she had to work through her own things
Mhm.
with regard to like religion and things she had been
Yeah.
taught. But you all have cultivated this very beautiful relationship where
Mhm.
she considers you a daughter and things.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but I think the foundations of having to come out and do all of this definitely can be a scary time in
Oh
a
my
relationship.
gosh.
It was certainly the case for us.
Mhm.
But so we end up, you moved to Chicago
Mhm.
in 2016,
End
the
of
end of
going
2016.
into 2017.
It's like you
Yeah.
came for Christmas,
Never went back.
didn't go back. You were looking for employment in Chicago
Yeah.
because the opportunities were not there in South
Mm-mm.
Carolina.
Mm-mm.
And that was the bigger part of too deciding to move here.
Yeah.
So we started that journey together, deciding whether or not we were going to stay in Chicago, move to
Mhm.
Atlanta.
Mhm.
Took us about 4 years to move to Atlanta.
4 years.
But in that time, we got our first places
Apartment.
together, hosted a bunch of
A bunch of
parties.
stuff.
We were just like the hangout spot.
Traveled all over. We had a lot of travel. We made friends together. We
Went out a lot on the
went out a lot, got
weekends.
a civil
We
union.
partied
We
plenty.
partied.
But so we get to enjoy parenthood because we
Mhm.
lived our party life
We definitely
season.
did. I got my whole life.
Yeah.
We did. I mean, it was just such a beautiful time in our relationship. I remember particularly not being in the South, or I mean, I probably practiced some sort of escapism. However, it was a beautiful container of space that just felt free and
Yeah.
liberating and like I get to live my best queer life. And
Mm.
I hadn't seen a lot of examples of that from where I was from. And so
Yeah.
having this opportunity to do that there was very freeing on one hand, and I knew I was hiding on the other
Mm.
hand. So there was definitely, like, internal discord there for
Yeah.
me, and I know that it began to seep out externally into our relationship, but it was just this beautiful space and time that just felt really, really,
Mm.
really good.
Mm.
Really
Yeah.
good.
It felt really good for me too.
Mhm.
I loved hosting barbecues with you and
Yeah.
having friends over for brunch or like game nights.
Mhm.
Um, just going and staying at like hotels on the weekends, like
Mhm.
just really getting to immerse ourselves in our relationship,
Mhm.
figuring out our value systems
Mhm.
together, just realizing we have like a really solid foundation.
Mhm.
We really formed that there
Mhm.
in Chicago.
Yeah.
So once you finally accepted my proposal and we
Mhm.
ended our long-term engagement,
Mhm. We got married
we got married
in the DR. It was beautiful.
in the DR. It was very, very beautiful.
Mhm.
It was picturesque. It was like the whole resort was at our wedding.
Mhm.
And I'll never forget that. It was
Mhm.
such a long walk from the front of the resort to the bottom to the middle of the resort where we were
Yeah, it was.
on the what is
The
that? The
gazebo.
gazebo.
Mhm.
So you had like a long walk down. Your aisle was long.
Mhm. And it was, like, in the middle of the lazy river. So
Yeah.
everybody's, like, in the lazy river in their floaties just like,
Not at our
"Yay!"
wedding. Not our wedding. Our wedding
Right.
people were seated under the gazebo,
The
but
other
the
resort
resort
guests.
guests,
Mhm.
yeah, cheering us on.
Mhm. It was so
Absolutely.
beautiful.
It
Just a
was
magical moment.
very, very picturesque. And so you walking down that long aisle was
Mhm.
very symbolic of the long journey to us getting to this moment. I'll
Mhm.
never forget, and I'm just grateful that we decided to get married in the Dominican Republic
Mhm.
because we know that many enslaved Africans before they got to America stopped in the Caribbean. So
Mhm.
many of the Caribbean spaces were colonized by various European countries,
Mhm.
and many of the things that were grown in the Caribbean were like sugar, and other kinds of goods that were very
Mhm.
valuable at the time. And so a lot of enslaved Africans were brought to those spaces to do hard labor essentially
Mhm.
on their way to the Americas. And so
Mhm.
even once the slave trade ended, those people who owned slaves in the Caribbean could bring those slaves to certain colonies that they
Yeah.
had in America, all this kind of stuff, right? So we know that the slave trade didn't end when the slave trade was abolished.
Mhm.
There was a lot of movement in between uh, the Caribbean and America.
Mhm.
I say all that to say when we get to the Dominican Republic, we kept hearing from people, welcome home.
Mhm.
And we did very beautiful ceremonies during or rituals during our ceremony, like the
Yeah.
jumping of the broom,
Mhm.
because so many enslaved African people across the diaspora were not allowed to get married in their different spaces because
Mhm.
their families were continuously being broken up.
Mhm.
So they weren't allowed to go through legal ceremonies like marriage. And so
Mhm.
they did the jumping of the broom to signify this change from me to we, or
Mhm.
from this one part of our life to the next
Yeah.
chapter. Uh it was just a beautiful and symbolic ceremony. We did other rituals in that
Mhm.
process. To be in this space that felt like ancestral
Yeah.
was very, very meaningful to me.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
to have people continuously be like, welcome home
Yeah.
our entire time
Mhm.
was beautiful. I think
Mhm.
that that is a significant part of our love story.
Yeah. It's very significant, and I think it was a great, um it was a beautiful ritual or a beautiful commemoration, if you will, of the origins of motive, right? Like
Yeah.
from friendship to dating to marriage and all of the in between. And of
Yeah.
course, our love story did not end there. It's
Yeah.
continuing and growing and being written, and it's lots of twists and turns and but a lot of beauty.
A lot of beauty.
A lot of beauty and a lot of love. And I feel like at the foundation of our friendship, our relationship is love.
Mm-hmm.
And our story is one that I feel very proud of, that I feel very connected to. And I'm always so like, I don't know, I get a little not embarrassed or nervous when other people like comment on our story in a positive way, like, oh my God, I love y'all's love. And I'm like, I love.
It's the same love. That's
It's
the
the same
thing.
love.
That's
It's
the thing. It's only shifting in form.
yeah.
It's embodied differently from couple to couple, but it's the same
The
love.
same love.
So easily receive that. People are just saying, we love how you express it. We love how you embody that love.
We just out here being our own love goals.
Absolutely. I think this is a good place to pause our story
Yeah.
because we know it's unfolding. We know we have a child now. We know that our
Yeah.
family has grown a lot. But the origins of us, the origins of our love story really started in that friendship. That friendship that began in Orlando. Going back to Orlando this year was pretty sweet.
A full circle moment.
Very full circle. But the origin started with me being too shy to even say hello. And now we're
me
here.
just yapping away and demanding you talk to me.
And I'm so glad that you did, that you reached out and you said, hey.
I love that for us. I love you.
I love you too. The very first time I saw your brown eyes, wait, your lips said hello and I said hi. That's literally, I knew right then and there you were the one. Okay, I'm not gonna keep going. But I am so grateful for you, Tiff. This has been a beautiful, beautiful episode of the Be Your Own Love Goals podcast with Mo Ari
and Tiffany.
We look forward to talking with you all soon. You all go just be your own love goals. Have a great day and be well.
Bye. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Video episodes are on YouTube and Spotify.
If you want your question included in an upcoming episode, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Be Your Own Love Goals or check out our website at lovegoalspodcast.com. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Bye.